Good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting installment of Edessa, the Dark Crusade, Season 2. See, I didn't say Darkness in Dublin. Haha, I'm getting better at this. I'm kind of a shit human being. I am a shit tier human being. Um, this evening's scene is set just outside the boundaries of Edessa proper, in the area known as Zengut's Wall or Zendrit's Wall, a relatively prosperous, populous little hamlet outside of Edessa. Famushi is currently standing next to a brazier that is crackling away rather happily in the middle of the night, cutting through the darkness. He's standing on a lower part of the. He's standing on a lower part of the wall, on a series of steps that clearly lead up to where one of the watchtowers. He doesn't, obviously he's not looking quite in that way, but he is facing towards the an open expanse that just outside of the wall itself, as he turns to his seeing eye, Evelyn, because you are now a seeing eye, Evelyn. Does she object to being a seeing eye, Evelyn?
She does not object.
Look at her with her eyes that can see. And she will say, "We will just wait here for our guests to arrive."
Of course.
My apologies. For some reason, my allergies have been kicking my ass today.
Oof, not fun.
Allergies. You've been lucky over here. Was that Memnon's cue?
Yes, and you're being super quiet.
Sorry. Okay, so when Memnon actually gets to the wall, it's barred entry. Well, he's actually never. No, he's been here once, but it's been a while, so the layout's kind of foreign to me.
It used to be the Zamitsi clan domain.
Right.
Until all of them kind of up and died. And no, they wouldn't barrier entrance because we're also not on that side of the wall. We're actually on the outside of the wall itself. So basically, we're facing the wall, but we're on the outside rather than on the inside.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, are you in an enclosed space? Are you in a tent?
Yeah, there'll probably have been a tent put up realistically. So they're standing outside of the tent next to a brazier.
Well, if Memnon isn't, stopped by anyone, he just will appear with a black cloak, and you can detect the heaviness in his steps, indicating that he might be wearing some armor. But he'll announce himself from afar once he can recognize you in the right distance. He'll hail to you, Lord Famushi. Good evening to you. I hope I have been timely.
You will notice that around Famushi and Evelyn, there are a number of other individuals who are all dressed very, very obviously for combat. So they're all dressed in like heavy armor with swords and whatever else have you. They are male and female. There's going to be two female, one male. If Memnon deigns, you will see at least one of them probably has their third eye open, so you can guess that they're probably his. He has spoken about having a group of Salubri under his sway, so these are probably a small number of them.
Mm-hmm.
But when he hears Memnon speak, Famushi's head turns in that general direction, and he smiles and he says, "Ah, Master Memnon, please come. Be welcome."
You'll see that his glance turns towards the brazier. You could tell that he's somewhat fascinated by it. He'll actually make the comment. You chose this for the warmth, or Perhaps you seek to temper something in the fire.
No, merely the warmth. It is a cold evening. My apologies. Have you met Lady Evelyn of Clan Malkavian?
Memnon will turn in the direction he indicates, and no, my lord, I have not had the pleasure. Memnon will just extend a hand.
Evelyn will take it. She is incredibly tiny, probably standing only about 4'11". And she's probably dressed definitely not for battle, a rather elegant looking dress. Evelyn Lister, Clan Malkavian, child of Corrington Locke.
It's good to hear that your clan has returned. I heard that many were lost. Malkavians, well, the lot that I knew before you, they were of great inner nobility.
It is unfortunate that we lost them then.
Shall we step inside, Master Memnon? There are some documents I think that you may be best look. I think that it might be best if you look over.
Memnon will look actually surprised. Oh, thank you for um, thank you for including me in what you have brought.
It is more so, he'll say as they step inside. It's just there's some basic carpeting on the floor. There's a table. There's a handful of what I refer to as Roman style open chairs. He will as Famushi steps behind the whatchamacallit, behind the table. He will lift a teapot and he will offer Memnon tea.
Memnon will have a glance linger on it, and he'll just say, "No, thank you."
He will offer Lady Evelyn some tea.
Why, of course. You know I do love sharing tea with you.
Takes a seat and he pours out the two measures of tea. And he'll say, "You are more of a man who has a practical sense than I do in these matters. Neharia, one of the salubri steps in, gives a curt salute. Please fetch me the documents that we were given." Yes, sir. Basically a ledger, a rather thick ledger, is handed to him, and he places it down on the table and he slides it across to Memnon.
Okay. Looking over the ledger, what would they indicate?
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. Basically, in the ledger, it shows the donations for the hospital collected so far as to being about 20 dots of resources worth.
Okay.
20 people have donated enough of that to constitute that, basically. And it basically shows names, amounts, promises, etc., etc., etc. Most of these are being done through, I would assume, human shills, because a lot of the donations came from Canaanites, obviously, but the Canaanites will probably move the money through their own, mortal interests and shills, etc. And he will. He says, "You are the builder, Master Memnon. I'm curious, with this kind of resources, what is a feasibility?"
Well, that would involve many calculations. How many people you want to be able to contain and provide for in your hospital?
I think that you and I understood each other rather well when I say this to you. He leans back in his chair as he sips his tea. This is going to be a hospital, yes, where my clan will do as we have always done and heal the sick, tend to the wounded, mitigate some of the pain of the world. However, I am also a man who believes in function. This must also be a stronghold. After all, we are a hunted blood. We require a strong, safe point, and I would have this building be so. So I wondered what were the feasibilities. You are a man of vision. I would talk to you on the matter of these feasibilities.
You hear Memnon sigh. I have been other places. As you can see, I am not even from these lands. I
If you,
have passed.
he's actually going to ask, if you do not mind, where was it that you come from?
I'm still trying to learn this exact history here, but Memnon essentially comes from what would have from an area of what would have become Ghana at this point today.
Okay.
Yeah. There's I forgot what it was called back then. It's actually kind of near Timbuktu, but anyway.
It's called at this point in time in the 12th century. It's called Mali. It's during the Mali.
Yes, right. That's it. Yeah, sorry, you're right, Mali. Right. So yeah, he'll try to give you a very fair description of the way he traveled from there in like a direction. But yes, Memnon will say that he's been through Spain and the southern coast of France. He's seen the structures in the northern parts of Italy. He mentions along with his sire before he came to Edessa, and he's been trying to discover the technique of that craft precisely in concrete, essentially. So Memnon is essentially asking Famushi aloud if we could use that technique, it would not only be more beneficial to the physical sense of defense from the actual enemy, and of course, providing for the needs of the sick, as they would be the most vulnerable people here.
I quite agree. He sips his tea and he says, ultimately, I'm led to understand that you are how would I phrase this? Apparently, the regent of Edessa himself is going to issue a charter for this building to be built. This building will be built in my name, I would suppose. He kind of contemplates for a moment as his head cocks to the side. He's not exactly sure of the right name for it. He will say it will be a grand chartered building, I believe would be correct. But it will also require the nomination of a master builder, who will be given much fame, credit, and glory when the building is created. We wished to nominate you as the master builder.
Memnon looks. Oh man, God, you want to roll some dice because I want to try to make a poker face here.
Yeah, if I could promote you a roll. So it would be your Manip sub versus my peony. And, well, mine, Evelyn's peony.
Oh.
Which dice roller? Let's just do dice roller 2. Using. There we go.
The dice rolls are what I live for. What is it now?
Your Manip sub versus our peony. Holy shit! Okay, that's a roll of the century right there. Nope, neither of us can read Memnon.
Oh my god! Sorry,
So,
guys.
what was I going to say? So, out of character, how does Memnon feel about the statement? Because obviously we can't tell in character.
Okay, no, Memnon feels glorious. Like if he had a football in his hand, he would spike it right now. He is victory lapping his way inside his little dark soul. But yeah, he's gonna just maintain his composure and just say, "I would be honored."
There are a small number of design requests that we would make, and we would be curious about the feasibility thereof. Actually, I need to check the map of Edessa. Give me like 2 seconds, because I'm trying to check and see where this physically is in relation to the city. I'm not sure if it's written on the map. Because Zengatzwal is basically it's basically a township outside of Edessa. So give me 2 seconds.
I have a question. Does Zangard have a water source?
That was what I was checking. I was checking our relation to the river.
Because if you're going where you're going, I already got a plan.
Yes, we are right. Zengatzwal is right next to the river.
Oh, it is? Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so Memnon would suggest that he'll put forth this. I had once spoken with another Canite who had interests in building. I recommended a subterranean vault that would act as a final line of defense should any Canite within be able to go to ground safely away from whatever may be coming at us. This would also allow an area of certain discretions. But it could also set as a physical foundation for a much taller structure. Considering the usefulness of that wall, it would be well worth to repair it and perhaps set up a more improved sentry positions. As you say, you wish this to be a stronghold.
Yes. As I said, there are only a small handful of requirements that I see moving forward in your construction. Obviously, we will require large galleries in which to treat the sick, an area in which certain people with certain illnesses may be quarantined. But also, have you studied much Roman architecture?
I have not had the chance. I have been looking for texts that could enlighten me more.
In the East, we have found that a pillar of good medicine is good hygiene. So we would have I believe the phrase that would be used in this would be, yes, would be bathhouse. constructed so that so that we may have the sick properly bathed, etc., so that their healing may be encouraged. Also, within the boundaries of the area that we will build in, we would like a garden created because that tends to raise spirits, to have beautiful flowers. As a matter of fact, I had intended to dedicate the garden to Miss Evelyn due to her kind donation.
Memnon would look at Evelyn and smile.
And you know what? Blush of health. She's going to spend a blood point to blush.
Best use of blood ever.
um, if I may, while we are on the subject of defenses, and Memnon turns to Lady Evelyn. I have heard of the plight that befell your clan, and there are still in the city who remember the Malkavians fondly. There was some suggestion of Christian quarters having formerly been the domain of the Malkavians. Perhaps until things are settled, should return to the way as it was. If you would find the Christian quarters comforting, I could help you settle in.
At the moment, my sire has chosen the slums as our...
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I said the Christian. I'm sorry. I meant the slums. I'm sorry. We got a crisscross. Yes, that's what it's.
We are set up fairly well, thanks to my sire's hard work.
I would hope to have the pleasure of meeting your sire these evenings.
I will have to let him know.
Indeed. I have also yet to meet your sire. Perhaps we shall have him for tea.
Perhaps we should. I'm sure he would enjoy it.
But, needless to say, Master Memnon, this is, even I understand with my limited grasp of commerce and financial records, etc. This is a rather huge amount of money and noble influences and signatures that we are playing with here, so I have no doubt in your abilities to do great work.
I am honored by your praises, and I would do due diligence to giving you the best that I have, though I will humble myself and say that there are others out there that are, well, if they laid eyes upon this too, they are you have a great aid. I appreciate the title. I think anyone who puts their hands into this work should be recognized.
Indeed. There will be much glory to go around. Bear in mind, the regent, from what I'm led to understand, wishes this building to be a statement as much as it is a place of wellness and health. He wishes it to be a statement as to power and prestige, which is why we have as large a chest as we do, and so much support from the various different nobles and common quarters. He wishes it to be a statement going forward, and history will remember that it was Memnon who put his mark on this building, just as I'm sure there are other buildings that bear the monikers of great men.
Well, yeah. Memnon will suggest that in a few nights' time he'll send you some drawings, some renderings, just to come to an accord with what the taste might be. But yeah. Okay, my lord, if you intend to have both able-bodied and the sickly here, providing for them is going to be a necessity. I would expect that you would need a good flow for traffic, practical traffic, like wagons and perhaps the oxen that drive them.
This would seem reasonable. Yes.
You could have outside of your garden, a plaza where the healthy and, of course, the sick and transport could be moved while we can concentrate outwardly for the physical defenses and formations of walls and buttresses and such. The I do think that perhaps we should look into making a secure piping of water from the river.
Considering the amount of water that will be needed for sanitation, as well as other, yes, this seems reasonable. That would more than likely also add credence to your, how would I phrase it, your underground systems. Yes, your underground vault, your building down as opposed to just building up. If we were to have an area whereby said water could be heated and then through a system of pipes, perhaps put throughout the building to various different uses, not only to heat the building but also to go where it was needed. That was an old trick that was used in my youth. I'm led to understand that it is one of the great sources of, shall we say, the sanitation in Constantinople.
I've only heard. I was not there. But when it does come to building downward, eventually we will attract the attentions of the Nosferatu, whom I have personally tried to make alliance with and stand in good faith. I think perhaps maybe we should consult them on this matter as well.
Oh, for the record, Bruce, because this is kind of important. Zengin's Wall is entirely outside of Edessa, so there's no sewers or anything here. We would literally be building into Earth. There'd be no Nosferatu down there.
Yes. 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 No, they're great guys.
Yeah, if you go out of Riverside, I'd say if the map is in any way to scale, about probably a bit more, about Zengin's Wall is about 5 miles outside of the broad Riverside, so it's outside of the city proper. It's in the farm. It's basically a town in the farmlands. So there'd be no real Nosferatu here because there wouldn't really be a sewerage system here. That is something that we would the hospital would probably have to build, but then again, because we're near the river, that wouldn't be too much of a problem.
Right. Yeah. Well, Memnon would give you some idea of numbers of, the cost of manpower depending on how long it, how soon you want this to be done.
Yes. He will. He rifles through his. Papers again, and he presents you with several letters from the heads of the various different guilds. This denotes the influence 8. I think it's the influence 8 commerce that's been sunk into it so far. So basically, these are the various different guilds going. We will give you massive discounts and all the labor you need. Blah blah blah.
Okay. Okay, great. Great. Oh, wow.
As I have said, people have been exceptionally generous.
Hmm. Well, that also becomes a whole problem itself. That is, there will things that should best be forgotten. That non kind of winks.
Only Evelyn will see the wink.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! Yeah, I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. No, no, no,
It's
no, no.
literally right there on the overlay.
Hey, don't worry about it.
No, I was doing this to him the whole time the last time. I'm sorry.
Ooh, hang on. There's like, Austin, you want to join us? Want to come in and play? Happy mouth, buddy? So, to give you context, it might actually be of interest to you because we're outside of Edessa at the moment. We're just in the farmlands at the moment. So as maybe you were coming back to the city from being elsewhere or outside, basically there's a really nice tent that has just been set up in essentially the middle of nowhere that there are a group of people in who appear to be having a conversation. If you have any level of auspex, which you're a Malkavian, don't be bad at life. Um, it appears to be some kind of grouping of kindred outside in the middle of nowhere, having very pleasant tea.
Yes.
It's very pleasant.
And he would probably recognize Evelyn because he came into the city with her.
As I wait for him to unmute and/or reveal himself. Austin. I don't know if he's there. I'm confused. Evan flails and hits himself in confusion. I tell you what, while we wait to see if he exists, I'm just gonna go get another drink. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Oh, he left. Okay, I will stay. There's no need for me to get a drink. Oh, victory.
Oh, he disconnected.
You exist, Austin? Okay. But in that case, yes, I think that is an excellent idea. Needless to say, as I said, there will be much work to do and much work to go around, but ultimately, I believe in the ability of man to form bonds, and every life that we lengthen, as I said, is a bond that I am happy to make. Oh, it may come of interest to you, I'm not sure. But the Seneschal has informed me that he will be supporting the Salubris. He contemplates his next word very carefully. Reinstitution as a clan within the city and domain of Edessa. Meaning,
No, go on.
meaning, with any luck, it is only a matter of time.
Weeping and wailing fills the air at a distance. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, it's me. forever forsaken. No.
Do we just hear like a guy just like wailing?
Pretty much off in distance in the desert plains. Coming closer to you, obviously.
What is this cacophony? Nahariel, Nahariel, go and see what this is. Yes.
Vanity! Vanity! Everything is naught but vanity!
Is that not some madmen that you are healing, my lord?
No, I I was unaware of any madmen out, but he kind of looks at Evelyn. Sorry, his head turns to where he knows Evelyn is sitting. He's like, "Is this a friend of yours?
Oh,
Do you
that is so rude.
I'm going to assume that the Malkavians know all the mad people. It's fine. I can assume if I want.
She tried not to look just a little offended. Honestly, I don't know. The voice sounds familiar, but
So basically, Austin, two individuals dressed in quite heavy armor walk up towards you.
Oh shit. They will find a man broken. Red just pouring from his eyes, collapsed to the ground. Will you dispatch me to see my maker? Or
Baptiste,
to the pit?
Baptiste, get up off the floor.
I'm outside at the moment being accosted by two armed individuals. I will be with you in a moment.
They're not accosting you. If anything, they probably very gently pick you up.
The Baptiste is gently picked up and escorted places.
Yes, you're going to be brought into the light of the tent where you will see my character, whom you never met, Memnon, who I don't know if you've met, and Lady Evelyn, all seated around a table.
Neat. Just gonna go ahead and do a. My eyes will go ahead and like be cast around. Oh, I see poor wretched souls before me.
Evelyn would just kind of pinch the bridge of her nose. Baptiste, dear, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with me? What is wrong with you? Do you not see? Can you not see the inexorable pull of all of us to the ground, to the dirt, to beneath? And he's actually gonna go ahead and like walk towards you, like hands out. I'll try to grab your whatchamacallit, dress, shake it. Do you not see?
Unhand him.
Kindly.
Is this a Canaanite?
Yes, he is of my clan. He
Ah,
arrived in the city with us.
Famushi stands up. Obviously, the first thing that you'll notice, Austin, about this individual is he's blind. So
He's
basically,
wide.
he's blind.
Ah, gotcha.
So he traces around the side of the table with his hand, so he knows where he's standing, basically. But when he hears you, he basically he reaches forward and he hugs Baptiste.
Well, he's gonna get ugly red tears like all over his shoulder now. Ah! Whatever he was wearing at the moment is probably gonna go ahead and get stained, something fierce. It's gonna immediately be clean.
It doesn't seem like it's bothering him, but he will say, he says into your ear, shh, Now then, there's no need for this. Come now. Would you care for some tea? Everything will be fine.
You
You
are
know what?
right.
I was gonna say.
Tears.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
I was gonna roll some some charisma expression to calm him the fuck down.
If you would like.
I do believe this is his derangement.
I mean, it's still something that Harael would try to do, or not Harael, fuck my life, and Harael would try to do. That sweet, sweet roll of difficulty 4 because of enchanting voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has 5 successes to try and calm you down.
No, that's legit. That's legit. Baptiste will go ahead and lift his face facade, go ahead and face yours and say, "You are right, kind stranger. Tears are suffering wasted."
Please. He takes his hand. There are only 3 chairs in the tent, so he actually puts Baptiste sitting in the chair he was sitting in.
He sits.
Would you care for some tea?
He goes ahead and shakes his head. Nah.
That is fine. And to answer your question, Daryl, we are currently in the middle of nowhere. Basically, out in out in the middle of Zengid's wall, there's been a tent erected. So if Altair is just wandering around the farmlands, because I know he farms, you are free to just come across a random tent.
Then you will. With nothing necessarily in tow outside of a bag and a few tools. Um, um, so the young looking man will be kind of hovering around the tent and noticing the distressed ramblings of somebody's voice. And he more or less, yeah, I guess, because I'm assuming the tent's not that thick, his shadow would probably appear with within the outlining the tent a little bit. I guess that would get everybody's attention to look out.
Baptiste madly points his finger towards the shadow. Death he comes! Falls out of the chair, scrambles to the other corner of the tent.
For the record, for Al Qadir, there are about 3 or 4 armed individuals outside who won't like draw their swords on you or anything melodramatic, but they do definitely poke their head around the side of the tent.
When he sees the soldiers, he is definitely taken aback a little bit. Yes, he wasn't expecting such things. Yeah. Though, would they have any regalia on them that he might recognize?
Just for the easy purpose, one of them will have their third eye showing.
Then, with that, he frowns at that one particular and kind of just looks around. But I'm assuming we're in a relatively vacant area of the farmlands.
Yep.
Okay. And he'll then kind of point to that one in particular, and we'll just simply say, "I know this area is empty, but caution is always rewarded."
Hearing your voice, because Famushi, he has a lot of aspects. He will have you basically. He will call out, and you can hear him from inside the tent. Is that Al Qadir of Clan Asamite, I hear?
It is nice that we should announce our presence, but yes, it is.
Please come inside, friend. Share tea with us.
And he looks as he kind of looks at the soldiers since they're outside the tent. So he kind of just raises eyebrows, referring to us, and will just state, "There's more of us out here."
Those are my pupils. Please do not be alarmed by them.
I only wish that, as he kind of gets closer, that I only wish discretion at this point. Yeah,
By all
these are
means.
troubled times.
As you step inside, as I said, you will see, for the record, Famushi has reassumed his chair and Baptiste is weeping in the corner again. Because God knows, no amount of magic voice is going to cure that. Mm-mm. That is
No.
pure. That is pure solid cray.
It was still 5 successes. You did it good.
I mean, it's showing the fact that he wanted to engage with you on the level of "shh, please, you're going to be okay," as opposed to
It's a very, very bad time for Baptiste at the moment.
mostly because when you met my setite, he proceeded to put the fear of God into Baptiste.
Oh, this is a different character. Thank God.
But as Al-Qadir steps in, you'll see Memnon, Evelyn, and Famushi, and Baptiste kind of cowering in the corner.
He would recognize Memnon.
Yeah, and Memnon would definitely stand up to cross the distance. Al Qadir, good friend, it has been too long. He'll shake your hand.
Please be welcome. Come inside. Will you take tea, Master Al-Qadir? Yeah, well. Nope. So with that in mind, Famushi kind of leans back in his chair and he says, "So, Lady Evelyn, you and Baptiste know one another well then?"
I'd hardly say we know each other well. We
Too
entered the
well.
city together.
Absolutely too well. We know too many things about each other. Too many secrets. Stares at the Evelyn.
Hmm. Chew it again, just kind of pinch the bridge of her nose and just rub it and just look back at him with this look that says, "If you don't shut up."
Uh, Me- does Memnon hear this conversation?
Yes, you're sitting right there.
Okay. Oh, he'll lean in and say, "You, you guys like secrets?"
Only if they're secrets.
I like those too. I have ways of learning secrets if you're interested.
Oh heavens.
We're in a better mood in a different moon. Maybe I take you up on that offer.
Oh, do you have that particular flaw?
Mm-hmm.
What is the current lunar phase?
Give me just a second.
I think it's waxing gibbous.
I used to be a werewolf player and would know this off the top of my head.
As of today, yes, waxing gibbous.
Ah, victory. But I used to be a werewolf player. Then I took an arrow to the knee.
Many things happened. All of it terrible.
But he will say to Baptiste, "May I tell you a story, Master Baptiste?"
Go ahead.
A long time ago, in a city, only the second of its kind, there were two brothers. One who saw the world with eyes unclouded, an oracle whom would understand the future nearly as soon as it was the past, and another a healer of such skill that he could simply put a stop in death and raise the dead once again to life. Unfortunately, the first brother with the gift of prophecies was also given terrible madnesses, fits of darkness he would have, where he clawed at himself and cursed existence. And it was only his brother, the healer, who could briefly give him sanity, solace, and succor. So he did not need to suffer from these bouts, these pains, For it hurt him so that his dearest brother must be this way. That is the story of Malkav and of Saulot, your founder and mine, when yours would see many wonderful things, but oftentimes needed help, and when mine would grant him help, solace and sanity when he needed it.
Eyes are narrowed. You speak to somebody else when you speak to me. And I realize that, and it scares me.
Somebody else, he says with his brow kind of furrows and you could tell he didn't understand the statement.
Baptiste goes ahead and keeps his own counsel, but he's definitely in that corner. He's paying attention now. He's not crying no more. But he's got his knees curled up to his chest. He's very protective of himself and staring at you.
But yes, moving back to our discussion as we were having it, the Seneschal has declared that Clan Salubri will be recognized as a clan once again within Edessa, and in that case I am to serve as its primogen. I do not know if this is a poisoned chalice I take upon myself, but he shrugs. Though quite possibly for the first time in vampire history, myself and another honored elder of my clan had a debate as to how neither of us wanted the job. My kind have always been very good at giving up power. We've never been very good at finding it.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Indeed. Heavy indeed. Smiles. Master Memnon, on the topic of the individual you wanted me to find, Master Quill.
Yes.
He did not come to our clan meeting, however, he did send me correspondence, so I may well be having a private meeting with him in the coming days.
Thank you for keeping me abreast of that situation. I do want to keep things as civil as they can possibly be.
Of course.
Sorry, quick test. My voice coming through okay?
Yes.
Oh, good. Sorry. I wasn't getting a repeating, so I don't think it was going through.
We can hear you now.
Okay. No, I guess after the brief statement between you and Memnon, Kadir will take notice of the there's I guess no other clear way to put it, the striking figure in the corner with the red hair, because he does not recognize her.
I don't believe we've met. Evelyn Lister, Clan Malkavian.
The man will bow his head and simply say, "If I am Malakadir of Clan Assamite."
It's a pleasure.
I'm glad that there's still your clan around in the city. We've heard terrible rumors.
We've only just recently arrived.
I see.
We also have Baptiste of the same.
Yes, the young man in the corner is Baptiste, also of my clan.
I merely think that Master Baptiste sees the world as it really is, without the filament of light that we choose to give it.
If Baptiste goes ahead and chooses to wander his gaze over to the corner where the Malkavian is sort of crouched down, the only thing he will see is Baptiste pointing a finger and mouthing the word death at him.
Well, depending on his perspective, he's not wrong. I assume, as he looks over back to Evelyn, you are here to regain power within whatever district that's available to you.
My sire and I have set up in the slums.
Well, of course, I wish you the best of luck.
I was hoping, Alcadir, that you might be able to do me a service.
He turns to Fumoshi and his look, his posture becomes a bit more resolute, and will just simply say, "What is you wish from me?"
He smiles. I would like you to have a letter couried for me. And he says a word that I have confirmed that I know in character, but that will probably get a very interesting buzz topic from Alcadir. I would have a letter couried by you or one of your fellows to Alamut.
You asked for a lot for somebody new to the city.
I merely ask for... He contemplates. He holds his head back. Obviously, his blind eyes can't see the ceiling, but he holds his head back anyway. I think that's a mountain. Thank you, Austin. Yes, it is in fact a mountain. Would you like a cookie? But he will say, I'm merely going to ask the judges to judge something for me.
Well, as it is our duty to be a arbiter, a proctor to wherever we're needed, Fumoshi, the jury at this point for you is still in contemplation.
No, you misunderstand me, Al-Qadir. I have no interest in having myself judged, and the reason I wish the letter sent to Alamut is because it is a much grander jury that I require. I wish Clan Asamite to put Clan Salupri to judgment.
I would say you would need more of your fellows. You yourself and just examples would not be great enough for a call. But the viziers would be best to speak with you about this, not I.
Quite agree. In that case, rather than carrying a letter to the mountain, perhaps you will merely take one to your primogen, who I am led to understand is a member of your vizier caste.
I will make your statement noted.
Thank you. There was a wonderful anime moment where just lightning bolts go between the eyes of, I've said some of your secret words. Well, I've said some of your buzz topics.
Yeah, when he brought it up, it's not that hidden. I said, when it was skepticism, now it's more of a harsher edge.
He smiles and he says, ultimately, we are all servants to a greater cause. At least I've always liked to think so.
To kind of break up the tension, Evelyn would get up and refresh both her and Fumoshi's tea.
He, as I said, his teapot has dragons on it. Very pretty.
Yes.
Asian dragons. But, he says, so, where does the clan of the moon go from here? What is your next step in this great game? He kind of turns.
That's
Look,
that's you, Evelyn. That's you.
Well, you could answer too.
I'm not the elder here.
She's not an elder either, bitch. She's an
Out
ancilla.
of the
She's-
two of us, who has seniority and hasn't been cackling like a fucking madman?
True. So Evelyn is the saner of the two.
wow, the saner of two mad people. That's almost shitty poetry right there.
Almost. At the moment, we're still. My sire has been trying to reestablish the clan, but it's slow going given the tensions.
Yes. Speaking of which, Al-Qadir, I would hope in some night soon, perhaps, I could have your blade at my side. There is some justice that must be dealt.
Well, if I heard what I heard is still going on, the are the slums still technically part of Riverside, or are they more considered their more own district?
Depends. There's the Arab slums, which are a separate thing. There's Riverside, which is a separate thing, and then there's one or two. I think there's one other slum area. So there are two or three different districts that would be referred to as slums, I guess.
Okay, I'm more referring to Riverside. Riverside at a time was being more, let's just say, refreshed. I wouldn't know anything about the other slums, so you'll make the statement nonetheless. There will be a reinvigoration of the slums, hopefully, after we deal with the invasion at this point.
Yes, we need to put more of them to the sword, the bastards that Herman has unleashed.
I would say I would be very careful, Master Al-Qadir, about how you approach Riverside. That is the lair of where Mary the Black has decided to seed her garden.
I've heard much of this Mary the Black. What is your perception of her, Lord Fanucci?
She is a Bali of incredible age. A Bali, a bloodline of infernalists, diabolarists, those whom taint, corrupt, and twist the soul to their own ends. Those who summon demons and walk forever in shadow. She is ancient. She is filled with endless hate and endless malice. I can see her workings in Edessa. She pulls strings from deep entrenched within the shadows. As to what or why, as yet I don't know. But I know that Riverside is where her corruption is strongest. It festers just beneath the surface. But it is too strong to simply excise with fire and sword. That would be sloppy. Tens of thousands could die. We must be smarter. We must be subtle.
Lord Famoshi, as I do encourage your investigation and your fervor for this situation. Things have power once you recognize it. I do believe bringing up that particular topic at this time may not be the most prudent.
Fear of a thing merely increases fear of it. Fear of a thing In its absentia, merely increases the paranoia that is inherent to the thing. In my long life, I have killed Bali. I have killed great and powerful evils, because I needed to. Ultimately, she is a kindred, the same as you and the same as I. She is merely old and powerful. I do not have any fear of stating her existence or calling her by her name because I do not wish to give her the pleasure of being able to hide behind my fear.
When you speak of corruption, what does that actually mean? What does she actually do to these people? How does she control them?
I will give you an example. A very long time ago, I walked a very similar path. This was in the mountains of the Hindu Kush. When it was, I was a much younger individual and walked a much straighter road, I should think. And I came across a village that was being tormented by vicious plagues and terrible diseases. Skin was being so corrupted it simply fell from the bone when an individual would do something as minor as move their limbs. And through all of this plague and destruction, a wise man peddled his cures for the disease. It was miraculous. You put the pill upon your tongue, the disease would snap like kindling. Then, well, there was the price for these cures, and what it was he was taking, little by little, time by time, the very essence, the life force, I suppose you could call it so, if he chose to, of these people, and he was giving it, feeding it to the darkness for his own insipid powers. But he was giving them the cure. Why would they not simply wish away whatever it was, simply for their suffering to stop? That is the kind of price I am speaking of. Offering what is tantalizing in the moment, but in the long term is destruction.
That sounds no different than a typical Senite. They're much worse than that as far as my understanding is.
You and I have an agreement in this matter. The Setites worship a dark god. They are merely one step above the Bali.
As
However,
far
I will point out, if you know your history, during the First Bali War, all of the clans came together to defeat the Bali and their nameless overlord, including the Setites.
I believe any creature worries about their own livelihood, even the Setites.
Yes. Then during the Second Bali War, it was only your clan and mine, Al-Qadir, who fought back the darkness.
I do remember there were some bourgeois as well.
But my point is more to answer your question, Master Memnon. She will give tantalizing tidbits, and in exchange for souls and power. So I'm led to understand her corruption wraps deep into Riverside's bones. But I have yet to thoroughly begin my investigation there in order to try and burn it out.
Well, it may help in the long run with what Lady Irene and I have established in Riverside. I've admired her crusade for the people there. And, well, as a merchant myself, there's always opportunity.
Ah, yes, you built the church I stayed in for some time in Riverside, I'm led to understand.
That's right.
Hmm.
I hope you found its design pleasing.
Indeed, it was most suitable. That is the way you defeat Mary the Black, for the record, if you're interested, Master Al-Qadir. It is not with magic and it is not with tricks. It is quite simply with faith. If the people possess enough faith, this land will become as poisonous to her to walk upon as if she had taken drops of hemlock into herself while she still had a heartbeat. We must foster humanity's faith, and in doing so, this city is made a bastion in which she cannot stand.
I believe
People
there
need
was
a
some
victory.
weird display some nights ago. I haven't had the chance to investigate it.
In
Investigate
the
one.
corner,
Hmm?
in the corner, the Malkavian has activated silence, but he is on the floor laughing, rolling around. For
I mean,
some strange reason, Lord, the good Saluri's words has touched him deeply, and he cannot reconcile what he is saying with what he sees.
at what point did you start laughing? Because bear in mind, Auspex 5, or Auspex 5, I can just go. So,
Oh, you got all specs 5? Oh, no, you probably penetrate that quite easily.
yeah, so my question is, at what point did you start laughing? What did I just say that he found funny?
It was about the point wherein you're like reaffirming the idea that shared humanity would make this place a poison to her.
Okay, he doesn't seem to. He can hear you laughing, but he doesn't seem to respond to it. I think Evelyn's probably face palming her way out of life right about now.
Yeah, consider Evelyn also has Auspex 5.
Go ahead and give yourselves a high five for that one. That's a really awesome discipline.
It is. It's the forgotten discipline, and it's just so good.
And yeah, Evelyn is just kind of like, "Oh, kill me."
Sorry,
Just
what
kind of
was it?
face in her hands and just I can't deal with this.
Sorry. So just to get back to what was Memnon saying, because both Memnon and Alkadir spoke at once. So just what did Memnon say?
Oh, the people need a victory.
Quite correct. And what did Alkadir say?
His statement was just simply going to be, but faith in what?
Themselves.
In a manner of
That's not going
speaking,
to be
yes.
enough.
And to answer your question, Alkadir, what event was it you were talking of?
Said there was some light that was supposed to be, as far as the small folk has told me, a divine sign of maybe retribution, hope. But I was not there when it happened.
And that was myself and Tabarus dueling on top of Justinopolis Mount. When we activate the most powerful gifts of our blood, we glow as if we become a second dawn, and both of us did it simultaneously.
And does the prince know this?
She does. She considered it a small price to pay in exchange for Tabarus no longer being a threat to her domain.
So that explains why this sudden shift happened.
The sudden what, sorry?
I said that explains why the sudden shift happened, mainly referring to the people within evading the city. He took notice abruptly all of a sudden, like, hey, they stopped being as active as they used to be.
Many of those whom you've seen outside were Tabarus's get, forced to be embraced. I have taken them under my wing so that I may show them a better way.
As long as they're dealt with, and that's what really matters.
Dealt with?
So,
Lord Famushi, you must understand that there were many Canaanites that suffered many losses due to the antics of Herman and Tabarus, and all that, well, shared their likenesses of ideology.
I quite understand this, Master Memnon. However, if these same kindred, whom were embraced, many of them against their will, who were simply soldiers in life, if they come to you and say, "We are sorry for our actions, please, this is not the path we chose," I would hope that you would forgive them.
Rehabilitation is good and all, but most, I would assume, don't much care for that process.
I
Mental
thought.
is sorry.
Oh no, you continue, Bruce.
Mental gonna say it is not that forgiveness is not a possibility. Simply the matter of who must be punished for what has been lost and what has been suffered. While I can forgive the particular soldier itself, somewhere the responsibility must hang upon its head.
Yes, Herman and Altair, if you are correct, will come to have retribution upon them for their actions, as Tabras had his retribution given to him by me and my own hand. My code and the code of Samael teaches that you should not let a genuine grievance, a genuine wrong, go without vengeance. I like to think of it as justice.
I must also bring up the fact that that is not only, even if we do choose to rehabilitate, let's just say even a minor fraction of them, that is that many more faces to feed.
Yes, the city's population was already um, considerably high. And yet, this war, the dust has not settled.
No. At the moment, currently, I have 10 Salubri who have come to me for guidance. I will protect them. Any of my clan whom throw down their weapons, I will find a safe home for. I have already had offerings for them to go to Accra, where there is still a Salubri princedom, and to Antioch, the domain of my dear friend Zarathustra. We will find them places and we will find them homes.
That is appreciative, because hearing those numbers just in themselves right now, that's several too many.
Yes, but there are those whom are vagrantly feeding and hunting, violating domains and the silence of the blood. Those that are, sorry, I'm looking for the word, that can't be rehabilitated in a medical sense, if you catch my drift.
If Herman and Al Taib die, the blood bond will shatter. Then you may speak to them as individuals, not as slaves.
No, I do not speak of blood bonds. I speak of the beast.
Ah, I see. In that you are quite correct. He nods. Many of them have been allowed to give themselves over to their baser desires and instincts. The beast runs wild and rampant. It is unfortunate.
And
Is Bap-
At
Sorry, I
this,
just have to ask: is Baptiste still laughing on the ground?
Nah, he's regained his composure. After he moved on from the subject of like faith in humanity, he recomposed himself.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
with whatever capacity is left in the office of the sheriff, if I still have the capacity as hound, I will continue to do my duty. And these individuals must be dealt with. I do believe that is the context you meant, my friend. Speaking to Al Qadir.
I do not wish to speak in double entendres referring to their absolute destruction. As long as they are contained, rehabilitated, or destroyed, it doesn't really matter. But it does not, or exiled, to be honest. So, there are still too many Canaanites within the city, and the humans will notice eventually.
Hmm. Well, friends, it has been a pleasure to speak to you all. However, we should more than likely return to the city proper. Myself and Master Memnon were here in order to view the site for the new hospital. Master Baptiste, would you care to return with us?
A word with you, if you'll go ahead and allow me to pester your hospitality.
Please speak.
Alone.
As you wish. Would you gentlemen and lady please mind giving us the room?
Of
Oh, the
course.
lady can stay. I let the lady is I have no right to go ahead and like drive the lady off.
Well, I'm gonna take this to bow out. It was good seeing with you guys again.
No worries,
And
Bruce. Have a good night,
maybe I
Absolutely,
will say his goodbyes then.
buddy. Cool.
Alkadir will um, leave the tent and will best way to say it is he'll like go away from the tent, but he's not out of visual sight of the tent. He's kind of just kind of looking at it, seeing if the guards look back at him, and he seems just to be waiting.
Okay. And yeah, so when they were alone in the tent, Famushi, he doesn't look obviously in the direction, but he kind of gives a kind of a, please say a piece, Master Baptiste.
That piece will go ahead and comport himself. His composure is well within his grip. I'll go ahead and like take a seat, admire the tea set, look to the Lord, and simply says, "So, how?" And this is just me, nobody or nothing, asking questions of my betters. How well have you considered the deal with the prince in your clan?
For the record, Master Baptiste, I am in no way your better. And in what manner do you speak?
Is the prince aware of your attempts to bring in your lost sheep?
Yes.
I see. And you are also the one leading the charge against this blasphemous evil within our city, yes?
It is my clan's duty to perform, so I would not say that I am necessarily leading the charge. I am the most experienced combatant of this evil.
He goes ahead and nods. Have you considered whether or not many you will have taken under your care will fall in this evil to drive it out?
Yes. Our founder, our antediluvian, Saulot, once said that in many ways we must be the lamb for humanity. The healers must sacrifice many aspects of themselves for humanity's sake, and the warriors must sacrifice their lives in order to protect humanity. I am not afraid to die in order to fulfill my duty.
Oh, I believe you have many, many nights ahead of yourself and ahead of me, if I want to be quite honest. Have you considered the idea that the prince is well aware of the fact that many will fall?
Yes, she is a Ventrue. Ultimately, they are the clan of kings. If they do not, how would you say, look to the numbers, they would have no strength at all.
So you walk into this battle, this conflict, well knowing all the facts and realities.
Yes.
I am sorry to have doubted and questioned your judgments.
May I tell you another very short story, Master Baptiste?
He waves on, but then realizes you can't see a gesture, so he just goes ahead and says, "You go ahead, my good sir."
There was a great angel once, the child of Saulot himself, whose name was Samael. Samael was the founder of my order. He was the founder of the code that I hold to, and he was the best of us. He was brave, he was noble, he was true. Everywhere he went, injustice fell to his blade. It is said that he engaged the eldest, the lord of all Zemitzi, in combat and overwhelmed them. But when time came, when he knew that great evil was upon him, he marched alone into the village of the damned, to a carnal pit wherein the barley had thrown the corpses of ages into a festering mire. And there, though he knew it would end his life, he fought, and he fought like an angel of old. He struck down the great evil, closed its pit, but at the cost of his own life. And Samael died, and the world was diminished for his death. However, every one of us would do the same if it meant protecting humanity, for that is our calling.
Baptiste goes ahead and nods. I suppose having and bearing the title of son of Samael is a great honor for you. I can see it in your voice, paradoxically.
Do you not take honor in where it is your blood flows from, Master Baptiste?
Question for another night, perhaps. Suffices to say that my sire did me a good turn, a very good turn. He sheltered me in my lowest and darkest and deepest moments, and for that I am eternally grateful. I may not have a hero in my bloodline, but I have a sire who I'm very happy to call one.
Then, if he sheltered you when you were at your lowest point, if he gave you succor and gave you solace, he is as much a hero to you as my sire's sire is to me. It does not matter the greatness of the deed. It is the quality of the deed that matters, and both of these are great deeds.
A man and a woman went to go ahead and give to charity, to volunteer their alms. The rich man went ahead and gave plenty by his own hands full, but the poor woman gave in only a single dime. And the messenger said to us, "Look at this one who has given more than this man, for that is all that she had."
Exactly. Now then. He turns to Evelyn and he says, "May I have your shoulder?"
Of course.
So you'll
She
see
would
from.
move around so that he can take her shoulder.
Would you care to walk with us back to the city?
I would be delighted to, good sir.
And unless Alkadir wanted to do anything else, I think that we can end it there. Unless, did you want to do anything else, Daryl? Are you good?
No, all you would be doing is just watching. Like, I guess I'm more specifically be watching them to leave. But if they had obfuscate, he couldn't pierce through it right now unless it's really low.
No, they're just walking back.
And once he sees them leave the tent, he will return to his own devices.
Cool. In that case, thank you guys for playing. Thank you for watching. This has been another scene in Edessa, The Dark Crusade, Season 2. Have a pleasant evening.